So, not too long ago, I ended up making a casual video similarly to this, where I went over a bunch of good loadouts on Cold War. Just, me, you, the microphone, the loading screen, the menus of Cold War. And I think I'm going to make another video similar to that. You guys suggested in a recent poll that you wanted to see more ranking-ish videos. So I think today we're going to be ranking all of the perks on Cold War Zombies from worst to best. If you guys don't know all the perks, here they are on screen, and we're just going to very briefly go over each of them and all of their tier 5 upgrades, and then I'll give you my listing of worst to best. So the OG, we have Juggernog, tier 5. This increases the maximum health by 50. Tier 1 upgrade is going to reduce the status effect durations by 50%. Armor plates replenish 25% additional armor. Increase maximum health by 100. Armor durability increased by 25%, and instead of getting downed on a lethal hit, the armor is depleted and the health is reduced to 1. So this is basically going to give you, I think it's called like Dying Wish or something like that. The Black Ops 4 perk is going to reduce you to 1 HP instead of having you die. So it's going to give you 1 extra hit if it's going to be a lethal hit. Next up, we have another OG. We have Speed Cola. Increases the reload speed to 15, or reload speed bonus, excuse me, to 15%. This is going to allow, Tier 1 is going to allow you to sweep weapons faster. Tier 2 is going to field upgrades recharge 20% faster. This is going to get you that Ring of Fire a lot quicker. Tier 3 is going to get you increased reload speed bonus to 30% instead of 15%. You can repair barricades faster. The mystery box settles much faster. So this is going to be like, I believe it's called time splits or something like that in Black Ops 4, making the mystery box spin faster. And you can fire and reload while sprinting at full speed. Next up, another OG, Quick Revive. Reduce the time it takes to regen to full health by 50%, and reduce the time it takes to revive an ally by 50%. The tiers are going to give you downed crawl speed is increased by 100%, making you faster while you're downed. Reduce the delay before health starts regenerating by 50%. Reviving an ally will also heal you to full health. Reviving an ally will increase both players' movement speed for a limited time. And killing an enemy while downed will revive you and remove the Quick Revive perk. This is essentially going to give you a Borderlands-esque down. If you kill an enemy while you're down, then you pop up back up instead of using a self-revive. Another OG, Stamina Up. Increased run and sprint speed. The tiers are going to give you increased back pedal speed, so when you're moving backwards, this is going to really come in handy when it comes to the that step on D Machina where you have to get that item from the tank. You have to, explode the tank, it shoots the tree, it drops an item, and you have to run it down to the undercroft area. I forget what the item is called, but since you're carrying it, you do technically move faster moving backwards if you have stamina equipped, so that's going to help out a lot. Immunity to fall damage, this is pretty much only going to help you if you decide to jump out of the sky and outbreak without a parachute. Walking faster while aiming down sights, using equipment while sprinting, this is pretty helpful, and remove sprint speed fall off. So starting in Modern Warfare, I believe, you would start a tactical sprint where the beginning of your sprint would be full speed, and then as the sprint continues, your character goes slower and slower, kind of like, it's realistic in that sense. So this is going to remove the fall off speed. You're going to be maintaining full speed sprint the entire time you're sprinting for. The first new perk with Cold War, Elemental Pop. Every bullet you fire has a small chance to apply a random base ammo mod effect. The tiers are going to give you equip damage, also has a small chance to apply a random base ammo mod effect. Tier 2 is going to give you reduce ammo mod cooldowns by 20%. When ammo mod is applied, it uses the ammo mod's current skill tier instead of the base. Increase every elemental weakness by 50%. And an electronic damage charge, it damages and stuns enemies nearby when you reload. The more empty the magazine, the more damage it does. This is essentially Electric Cherry from the other Zombies games. Pretty good perk, gives you a random roll of status effects, and it changes the, where was it? When an ammo mod is applied, it uses the ammo mod's current skill tier instead of the base, so that's going to help you out if you're applying an AAT to your weapon. Deadshot Daiquiri. Aiming on sight moves the enemy to a critical location and removes the scope's sway. Tiers are going to give you deal 100% extra critical damage if the enemy is at full health. Increase damage against armor pieces by 50%. Reduces hipfire spread. Increases critical damage bonus to 10%. And each consecutive hit on the enemy deals 2% more damage to a maximum of 20% damage. So this does stack. This is going to be beautiful against bosses like Orda, where they open that little the mouth or whatever they shoot the thing of the glowing. When they're spitting out the things, if you get a ring of fire popped and you're hitting your shots consecutively with Deadshot Daiquiri, that damage is going to spike. Great perk. Cold War's alternative to a double tap perk, essentially. Tombstone. When down, become a shadow in the Dark Ether armed with your weapon that can revive you. If your shadow loses all its health, you die. The shadow form can regenerate health, increase down duration to 60 seconds. On death, drop a Tombstone stash that saves your weapon's equipment and resources, like the OG Tombstone. Respawn near the end of the round instead of at the beginning of the next. Respawn timers are reduced by 50%. And prevent perk delay when downed. Tombstone soda is always lost when down. So essentially, Tombstone is pretty much a mixture of Who's Who and Tombstone from the older Zombies games. And it's pretty much only effective in a co-op game, or if you're doing the Forsaken Easter egg to get the Perkaholic. Mule Kick. Carry a third primary weapon. Crafted equipment grants an additional equipment if able. All enemies have a chance to drop ammo, which is like Vulture's Aid. Stowed weapons slowly refill ammo from the stock. This is really beneficial, especially for weapons that have a low magazine size, like rocket launchers, grenade launchers, etc. 25% chance to keep non-retrievable equipment when used, so you can throw the equipment, use it, and potentially still have the equipment in your inventory. And the third primary weapon is recovered when repurchasing Mule Kick. This saves all of our issues with Mule Kick in the OG games. You have the Wonder Weapon in your third spot, you go down, you lose Mule Kick, you come back up, you lost the Wonder Weapon. Now you just have to rebuy Mule Kick from the Wonder Fizz or the machine, and then you get the weapon back. Death Perception. Obscured enemies are keylined. This is the base effect from Black Ops 4's Death Perception, but it gets added on. Minimap update rate is increased, giving you like an advanced UAV. Enemies give danger indicators when behind the player. This is like high alert if anyone plays Warzone. Gain 20% more looted salvage and high-grade salvage. This is going to be a great perk to purchase early on so you can get your salvage upgrades, especially if you haven't done all the Easter eggs and you don't have a purple rarity weapon. Increase armor penetration damage by 25%. This is going to be great against the Valentina boss fight. Nearby chest resources and item drops are keylined through walls, also similar to Vulture's Aid. Great perk. And last but not least, PhD Slider. Sliding into enemies triggers an explosion. The size and damage increases the farther you slide before impact. Funny enough, we've actually done a challenge on the channel where you went to, I think, around 40 or 50 on D Machina while only damaging enemies with PhD Slider. It was a lot of fun, and it took a very long time. Immunity to environmental damage when sliding. Increased slide duration. Immunity to self-inflicted explosive damage. That is the OG PhD effect. Increased slide speed, and falling from a large height will trigger an explosion. The size and damage increases the higher you fall. This is also the OG PhD effect, but without the flopper end of it. You just have to fall from a large height. So if I were to rank them from worst to best, I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise. I think the worst perk on the list is Tombstone Soda. Tombstone is effective. I think every single perk on Cold War Zombies is effective to a certain extent, which the game did great at. It makes all of them feel like a worthy purchase. It's nice to have all of them, since there is no perk limit in the game. However, Tombstone is pretty much only effective in a co-op game if you plan on going down a lot, because there's a lot of effects that revolve around going down. Or, like I said earlier, if you're doing the Perkaholic Easter egg in Forsaken, then you need Tombstone Soda to get the shadow, to shoot the guys, to revive yourself. But other than that, that's pretty much the only situation that I find myself buying Tombstone. I actually often forget that it's in the game. It is a combination of Who's Who and Tombstone, which are likely the worst perks in COD Zombies, depending on who you ask, so no shock here. Scanning up and down the list, I think the next worst perk, in my opinion, would probably be Elemental Pop. It's a good perk. It's got great if you're doing high rounds, if you're not going for an ammo or a camo challenge. This is going to be a great perk, and I love Electric Cherry, but it just doesn't stack up against the giants of the rest of the perks on this list. Great perk, it just doesn't really, stack up against the rest of the giants here. Looking across the list, I'm scanning up and down, and truthfully, I think the next one I'm going to have to pick is Quick Revive. Quick Revive is great. It's great for that health regeneration, and if you're playing a co-op game, it's going to keep everyone on their toes, especially with the speed bonus and reviving players to full health when downed. But if you're playing a solo game, or you mostly play solo like I do, Quick Revive is kind of just an oh shit perk. And that's kind of how it's always been anyways, except it's not a crutch this time because you can just purchase self-revives as for salvage. So you don't need quick revive like you would in the last games. So it's still a good perk. Again, none of these perks are bad. It's just not as good as the rest of them. Let's see. Scanning up and down. This is where it's going to get a little tricky because all of them are very, very useful for pretty much every situation. I would probably say the next perk... You know what? I'm going to take both of the crutch perks out of the way right now. You know, don't come at me. These are the crutch perks. You purchase them every single video game. Every single round of zombies. So they could be first and second and first, whatever you want to put them. I'm just going to shout them out real quick so we can get to the other perks that are not crutch perks and change based on your strategy. First one is stamina. Moving slowly sucks. Slow moving speed sucks. So Stamina Up is a crutch perk. You buy it every single game. It's essential. And you know which one I'm going to call out next. Juggernog. It's essential. It increases your health. Makes you take an extra hit. It's essential. You buy those two every single game. So those are already... They're exempt from the listing. They are like on the God tier. They're the essential. They're the crutch perks. These are the perks that, you know, Black Ops 4 tried to get rid of because they didn't want crutch perks. But you always buy Stamina Up and Jug. Outside of crutch perks, I think the next one I'd probably shout out would be Deadshot Daiquiri. Great perk. It is the double shot equivalent. Great for boss fights. Great for a lot of camping strats. However, once you start getting the wonder weapons, then having Deadshot is kind of less of a stress to have. Next one I'd probably have to shout out would be Speed Cola. Speed Cola is pretty much only here for faster reload speed, as it usually is, but more often than not, I'm using it to get Ring of Fire back faster. Other than that, not really much of a help there. Down to our final three perks, I would probably have to give this next one to Death Perception. Death Perception is going to be a great perk to buy very, very, very early on. It's going to give you a lot of salvage early on, and it's going to be helpful for camping strats where you can't see, where you're in a room, like Forsaken, Mauer Toten. If you're in a room and you're boxed in, you need to see zombies through walls. But other than early game strategies and early game preparations, Death Perception starts to slowly fall off the later in the rounds you go. However, what doesn't fall off in the later in the rounds is Mule Kick. Mule Kick, I never actually use it for the third weapon. Never. I use it to get an extra piece of equipment when I craft things. So when I craft expensive items like the Gersh devices, I don't remember what the Casimirs, that's what they are in this game. The Casimirs, those are 1,500 salvage per guy. And you buy one, if you have Mule Kick equipped, you're getting 3,000 salvage worth of items, and you're getting them for 15. You're getting it for half the cost. Plus, I can throw a Casimir and potentially not even use it. Not only that, but it is the Vulture's 8 equivalent for Cold War, as it can drop ammo, so I don't have to run for ammo constantly. Mule Kick is the second best perk in the game, in my opinion. Only second to PhD Slider. PhD Slider I don't use for any of the effects besides its OG effect of the self-inflicted explosive damage and for the extra movement speed while sliding. When I'm training, need Stamina Up in PhD because I slip and slide all over the dance floor, everybody. I am sliding all around the zombies, but if I'm in a camping strat, you can do any camping strat on the planet with PhD Slider because you don't even need the wonder weapon. You can just load into the game with a rocket launcher, max up to orange rarity, perk level 3, Ring of Fire, and PhD. You're set to round 100. You're basically playing Black Ops 4 with the Helion Salvo. You can do around 100 with a grenade launcher with PhD Slider because it's that dang good. Explosives are really, really good in this game, and the only fallback to explosives is the fact that it hurts yourself. Ray gun, rocket launchers, grenade launchers, Semtex is on the floor to get back your Ring of Fire. They all hurt yourself except for PhD. With PhD, you're exempt from all the damage, and in my opinion, that puts PhD as the best perk in Cold War Zombies. Now that we've gotten through all of that, if you like what you see and you're around here, please consider giving us a subscribe, as we do upload daily, and we would love to be a part of your routine. If you liked that video and you want to see our thoughts on the wonder weapons for the community rankings or our maps, then this next video is for you. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and we will catch you guys on the next video. Thank you very much.